everyone, we're here at Grenadilla Sounds. This is a little music studio located in Melbourne. We're about to go inside and meet Memphis LK. She's one of Melbourne's music producers, vocalists and DJs, and she's going to tell us a little bit about how we can make music in a studio and transfer it onto the computer into the CDs and records that you have at home. Let's go check it out. So here we are at Grenadilla Sounds with Memphis LK. So you're obviously spending many hours in here making music. How exactly do you keep it all safe and organised?
One really important thing that we do try and keep on top of in here is just making sure that all of our cables are put away properly, because if you've got loose cables then you could trip over on them. Every time we come into the studio, we make sure that the speakers are switched off and that the volume knob is turned down, because you don't want to start playing a song and then the volume's really high and the speakers might pop and they could blow, but also you could damage your hearing.
So my big question for you is, how exactly do you make music using all of this technology?
Basically, electronic music is computer generated, but you can also use real instruments and it can still be classified as electronic music.
So I'll just give you a little rundown of recording audio signal from an external instrument into the computer. What we've got here is a software program called Ableton. What we need to do first is create a new audio track. When I'm ready to record, I need to press this record button up here, and it's going to start recording an audio signal. As you can see, I'm not singing into the microphone, so the signal is non-existent. So I'll just delete that, and now we can do the real recording. Our home will never be stable, at least we're in this as one. So now you can see that the computer has collected the data from that audio signal, and this is now our waveform for the vocal that we just recorded.
Wait a minute, what's a waveform?
A waveform is basically just an image that represents an audio signal or recording. So as you can see here, the audio signal has been converted into data that the computer can now read. And this data is represented by this waveform here.
So this waveform just looks like a bunch of squiggles on the computer. How exactly do we read or interpret this data?
So you can see all these different shapes in this waveform. It shows you where the audio signal is and where I'm singing. So for example, these bigger shapes here, they're notes that I held for a long time. And where you can see nothing in between, those are the breaks in between the singing.
Okay, so once you have everything recorded from the instrument and then the data gets sent into the computer and turned into the waveforms, how exactly do you get it from that into a product that people can then listen to as music?
So one example is if you've got a finished product of music and you want to have it as a physical vinyl record. The people who are making the record, they will get an aluminium disc. They'll then use a machine which is called a lathe. The music that's been produced is played through this machine, and the little needle will pick up the sound waves and it'll etch the pattern into the disc of the record. The record is now a physical representation of the data from that music.
So there you have it. I hope you all learned a little bit more about how we can make our own music on our own computers, converting data into waveform and then eventually burn it onto our own CDs or pressing onto some vinyl records. Jump upon your computers and let's see what music you can make.